Okay, it's Sunday and in the afternoon, and I'm in the Friends House courtyard with Bill Shaw. Bill, can you tell us what it is you do for Quakers?
I'm the manager at Swarthmoor Hall, which is the cradle of Quakerism. It's the place that George Fox arrived at in 1652, convinced Margaret Fell, who was then an independent churchgoer of the Puritan side of things, but she was a bit of a seeker, and so she wasn't entirely sure. And consequently she gave George Fox a hearing and became convinced, and as a new recruit, like a lot of people are, who get newly recruited to something, they get very fervent and they throw themselves in at the deep end and they really get stuck in, which she did. But that didn't wear off, which it often does with some people. You know, that might last 3 weeks, a month, a year maybe, but it lasted a lifetime with Margaret Fell. Yes. So she was active right through till she died in 1701, 1702. But the hall, for 5 years between 1652 and 1657, was probably the only place in Britain that was safe to hold a Quaker meeting, in the sense that anywhere else might have been broken up by the militia or the magistrates if people knew about it. But the militia and magistrates didn't dare go into Swarthmoor because of Judge Fell, Margaret's husband. He was a member of Parliament on the parliamentary side, who was a friend of Oliver Cromwell, and so people were not sure how close he was to Cromwell, and therefore if they crossed him and invaded his personal house and molested his family and his guests in inverted commas, then there might well be repercussions, so they didn't dare. But as soon as he died, Margaret was arrested and meetings were broken, and Swarthmoor Hall wasn't as safe as it was the first 5 years. And in fact her son was one of the people who informed her.
Oh, really?
Because Judge Fell left the hall and the estate to his wife and his daughters, all of whom were Quakers, but he left his law books to his son. His son was supposed to be studying law in Cambridge, but he was really having a high time, and he expected to inherit and therefore be a big cheese with a lot of money and a powerful position, but he didn't. So he was very annoyed and tried to get his mother and his sisters out of the hall legally. One of his ploys was to get his mother arrested, but it didn't work.
And if friends go and visit Swarthmoor today, what will they find there?
They will find part of the original building, built in 1586, which 6 rooms of which have got furniture and fittings from the 17th century, some of which is directly connected to George Fox, Margaret Fell and the Fell family. Some of it is just 17th century stuff bought on the open market to make it feel that way. They'll find accommodation, 3 separate units that can be used as self-catering holiday units or for bed and breakfast. They'll find there's a programme of events running over the year that they could join in as participants. They'll find outside groups from the local community, mainly the public sector and the third sector, charities, non-profit making organisations using Swarthmoor Hall for training events. They'll find gardens and grounds which are tranquil, peaceful. They might want to camp in the meadow instead of staying in the hall.
You've got a new accessible building now as well.
Yes, the new building which went up in 2000. One of the 3 units we've got is wheelchair accessible, and we're trying to make that chemical free as far as possible, so that people who suffer from chemical allergy can also use it. But we're doing quite well with that, but we've probably got a little bit more to do. It's a very, very niche market. It's not very, a small market, but we might as well if we can. I'm not keen on chemicals anyway, so it's something I'm quite happy to do.
Right. What sort of programmes are available to go and take part in?
Well, there's work camps with QVA. There's one in May and one in October. People can. It's a working retreat. People could join the Friends of Swarthmoor Hall, which is a kind of membership organisation, and then they ring up and say, I've got a couple of days spare, can I come up to the hall? And you work half your time and you have the other half time free. You get your accommodation free, but you have to feed yourself, and then you have to clean up and make your bed when you leave. So your impact on the hall is minimal, but you contribute something towards the hall's life by being there, and by helping with some of the work, indoor, outdoor work. It doesn't really matter. The courses we've got vary. Some of them practical, like dry stone walling, quilt making, because we're replacing some of the textiles in the old rooms with modern ones, in inverted commas, but they're modern only because we're making them today. They're actually made with 17th century designs, colours that would have been available in the 17th century and used in the 17th century. And the difference that's made just in one bed, it's brightened the whole room, which is all dark panelled, and the wood's oak, it's all gone dark with age, and you've got this wonderful, colourful quilt, and it just makes you realise that the 17th century wasn't all drab and dark. It was quite a bright, light, colourful time, just like, you know, the 21st century is. So that's quite nice. And then there's a lot of spiritual activities. We've got courses on poetry and drama, listening, testimonies. We do pilgrimages to the 1652 country, experiment with light, rectangler. What else have we got? We do an inquirers weekend. We're doing a day on, coming into membership, a day on for inquirers about, you know, what's all this about Quakers? Question mark.
Can you tell us a bit about the pilgrimage, how that works?
Well, yes, it's for individuals, because if a group of people want to do a pilgrimage, there's a little booklet that tells you how you can do it, and you can basically organise it yourself. But if you're an individual in a meeting, or a couple in a meeting, and your meeting doesn't really want to do it, and you do, you can come on this and you join a group of others, and over the period of 3 or 4 days you become a worshipping group. And we go to Pendle Hill and climb the hill and worship on top, then we come back home, we discuss and talk, and we go to Brig Flats, then we go to Fairbank Fell and have our picnic lunch and worship there, and we go down to the Tapestry, Swarthmoor Hall, Sunbrick Burial Ground where Margaret Feller's buried, and if we can get Lancaster Jail fitted in there, we do that as well. So that covers the main 1652 area that George Fox travel, and the main features of recruiting the Westmoreland Seekers at Brig Flats and Fairbank Fell, getting the hall as a safe place, so massive membership, safe place to work, and that's how Quakerism in the Northwest became the powerhouse, the driving force behind Quakerism in the 17th century. Without the hall, we wouldn't be here. I think Quakerism would have died out.
Is that why the hall's managed now by BYM, is that right?
Yep.
It's not independent?
I'm a member of Friends House staff.
Mm. So does that mean that you're not allowed to be nominated to any committees or anything?
That's right.
Now, I believe you have a testimony, correct me if I'm wrong, of wearing green?
It's not testimony.
It's a rumour I've heard.
Yeah, I wear green, yes. It started off with my politics. I was a very active member of the Green Party. I'm not as active as I used to be, but I'm still a member, and I've stood a couple of times. I've stood once at Ulverston in one of the wards there as a Green candidate. So I support the Green Party, I support Green campaigns, and I started wearing green clothes as part of the campaigning and just gravitated to wearing green all the time. So now it's very convenient. When I get up in the morning, I don't have to worry, oh, is this going to match? Oh dear. I just whack it on.
It's very effective, I'd say. It's nice.
Yeah. And in actual fact, some greens don't work. You know, you might think that because it's green it'll all go, but it doesn't. So you've got to be careful you don't have something that doesn't clash. I discovered green dye as well, so now I can buy white clothes and beige clothes, bang them in the washing machine, stick the dye in, and out they come green.
Brilliant. Oh. Do you have any thoughts about this weekend's BYM?
Well, my main thoughts are always centred on the fact that we will never be a proper functioning community unless we meet together and get to know each other in the things that are eternal and as well as the things that are passing. And the more often we meet, whatever excuse we devise to meet, the better. A Britain Yearly meeting is our chance to meet lots of different friends. So I like that idea. It's and the fact that it's open to all friends is unusual. Other churches, you know, it isn't open to all their members. They've got to be representative. They've got to be appointed. And I always think there's an element of selection where that happens. So the fact that anybody, all friends, could come to Britain Yearly meeting if they wish, means that we are still open and still practicing our equality in our annual business session. Acts as a friend, as the manager of Swarthmoor Hall, if I can find 100 friends together anywhere and I can get the time and get organised, then I'll go and wave my flag and say, look, we're part of your life. Can you use us? Can we help you with your spiritual journey, your spiritual development? This is what we offer. Think about us if you need.
Terrific. Oh, well, Bill Shaw, thank you so much for talking to us.
You're very welcome.
And yes, and hope you have a very good rest of BYM.
Thank you.